Hey everybody, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. That's my tortoise Leo, catching some lunch. What a gluttonous pig he is. Got an all grass diet. This is my new tropical tree area, check it out. We planted some new tropical guavas, bananas. They're very small, but they'll grow this summer. We also planted papayas, papaya 1, papaya 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Half a dozen different papayas. They're the Thai variety and the Mexican variety. So we'll have 2 different types of leaves, 2 different types of papayas. We got 2 more banana trees here. And we got the first ever fruiting date palm, the Barhi date. And this guy is getting his weekly drink here as he gets established. And once the center leaves begin to grow above the cut leaves, then I'll take this string off and let him go on his own. In about 2, maybe 3 years, we'll have our first Barhi dates from our backyard. That'll be pretty awesome. As you guys can see, we have some new spots we've created. 1, 2, 3, and 4 or 5 over behind you, and they'll become the trees of tomorrow. But I wanted to show you guys something else. Check this out. Come with me, and we'll be in a world of my imagination. This is my trash alley, the trash way. It's where all the trucks come, dump trucks, the bulk pickup. It's all hidden behind the scenes. We're gonna go together, you and me, right now, on a little trip together, on a little date. We're gonna go on a date in the trash alley. And this date is gonna be to find some edible fruits and edible greens and edible trees that are just existing in the trash way. And maybe, if we're lucky, we'll find a diamond in the rough. Let's go check it out. Orange tree there. So we're walking here in the trash way. And you can see how a lot of my neighbors have navel oranges that hang over the top. So I mean, if they're hanging over the top of the trash way and the neighbor doesn't mind, you can always pick a few oranges. And this one is a fig tree. Look at the size of the figs here. Almost ready. So incredible how it's just hanging in the trash way. Pretty sweet. One thing you could do with this fig tree is you could take a branch of it and cut it off and plant a whole new tree. It'll root from a cutting. And just so many figs that are not quite ready, but they'll be ripe soon. And this fig tree, look how prolific. It's on the ground, it's up above. Pretty incredible food source of really gourmet style foods just hanging out in the trash way. Let's keep our walk going. And what's cool about my neighborhood is that we just walk out the gate into the trash alley for a couple minutes, and we get to the street, make a left, make a second left, and then boom, another edible landscape is in our future. The Epic Yard Farm. Let's go find out what it's all about at the Epic Yard Farm. To the left. Nice looking toy onions. Nice looking pomegranate tree. Man, we gotta go find out what edible greens and edible trees and edible things are growing in this person's yard. Are you guys ready? Smash that thumbs up button if you're ready to see my neighbor's yard. I'm not the only crazy one. Let's go check it out. This is my neighbor's house, and it's the Epic Yard Farm. You guys can find their YouTube channel right here. Click on this button. They just started it. They have 1 video. So go there, check it out, like the video, and subscribe to their channel because there's more videos to come, I'm sure. And they're called the Epic Yard Farm on Facebook as well, which is down in the description. But look behind. Just like my street, typical granite rock. God forbid we see any grass over there. And if we turn it, you can see how she's done something different, where they have taken grass, granite rock away, and they put a nice edible garden in its place. So let's walk through and see what we got. The cool thing about this place, the Epic Yard Farm, is that they do a lot of these custom raised beds that look really nice. So they have welding skills in addition to gardening skills, and they take the 2x6s and they have them vertically making up the raised bed, and then they have the metallic pieces holding them all together. So it's pretty cool. And then they're pretty artistic with all this stuff. And so they're growing all kinds of things like whole beans. This one was being held up by a spider web. It's not quite on the trellis yet. They've got some Iatoi onions. They've got things planted in different stages of growth. So with this bed, they've got different summer squashes and peppers coming up, which are a few months behind other plants that are ripening right now, so that they can eat in succession. That way not everything ripens all at once. It's a really good idea. And you see how they even are using mulch like hay, wood chips, and eggshells. Anything that they got for mulch to help, you know, not only build the microbial life in the soil, but keep the water inside the roots of the plants. And as those different eggshells and mulches break down, they add nutrients to the soil. So really good idea. And this area, they said that they put a bunch of wildflowers. So not necessarily for eating, even though you can use them for, you know, medicinal or edible purposes. But a lot of the wildflowers just add color to the yard. They look really beautiful, and they give a little sanctuary for hummingbirds, butterflies, and other bees and other pollinators, like this guy right here. And then next to this wildflower area, we have pomegranate. It says angel red pomegranate, which I recommend. I have one of those as well. And aloe around the pomegranate, kind of making a circle. And it's as if the aloe is bowing, kowtowing to the pomegranate. And she said that it's really cool because in the fall season, when the pomegranate loses its leaves, the aloe blooms flowers and the colors swap. It's a pretty good, well thought out planting routine there. And then here, this is what arugula looks like when it goes to flower. And so I know from my arugula that arugula is not my favorite green because it's so peppery and spicy, but I like using it in moderation in salads. But the flowers, if I can pick one and show you guys, the flowers, they look really cool. They're like white flowers, and they still have a little bit of the arugula taste, but they're like not as wasabi-like. So they're really, really good. So I recommend you can eat the flowers or you can leave the pods. And what we were just being told is that they're leaving this arugula here as a bug trap. So see right here how there's some aphids hanging out on the stem. See them dancing there? Aphids always change their color depending on what plant they're eating. And so they're leaving the arugula in this state to kind of serve as a moat and as a booby trap for these aphids, so they don't necessarily go and invade the rest of the garden. So that's a pretty good idea to manage your pest bugs naturally. And you can see over here the Iatoi onions gone to flower. Looks really good. And then the row of lemongrass for erosion control and edible herb. Let's take a look over here at some of the trees. I think this looks really beautiful, and it's a whole raised bed of chrysanthemum, and you can eat the greens. We just had a salad the other night with, if you guys saw that video of me doing that salsa dance on YouTube, we had my salsa dance instructor and friend Marietta over, and we had an epic salad, and we put chrysanthemum greens. We even put some of the flowers in the salad, and you can even make a tea out of the flowers to kind of heal you with the drink. And then you can see how on the ground they're being really smart about building the soil. So no matter what they have, whether it's leaves, I see some wood chips, I see some hay, anything can be used to garden veganically. And by that I mean gardening with plants. So notice they don't have a bunch of cow manure just spread all over the place. It looks kind of like the forest. It's kind of spongy. And as this stuff breaks down, it'll be a really good environment for beneficial microbes and even for plants to grow in. So you can see how even her nasturtiums, the circular leaves out there with the orange flowers, they're growing in the ground covered by wood chips. She has a nice citrus tree here, and so everything's really happy and happier with the wood chips. She even has companion planting going on with the chrysanthemums combined with some parsley. Looks like down here. Just tell me something. This looks this trellis, it's definitely one of a kind. It's pretty artistic. I wish I had something like this in my garden. This yard also has the moringa trees. So just like in my yard, about the same stage of growth, they cut the moringas back. I was here a few months ago and the moringas were huge, like, you know, maybe over 15 feet tall. And they cut them back when the winter zapped them. And now look at all the new flowers and growth already in just about a month or so. So moringa, the leaves are edible and so nutritious. I would even say maybe rivaling wheatgrass with nutritional content. You know what we should do in Alchemist? We should make a 1 ounce juice of just moringa and take a shot and see what that tastes like. So this is a really good example of companion planting or permaculture. They have the moringa trees up top with some of the purple sweet potato down below. In amongst the purple sweet potato, they have the Okinawan spinach. And I just tried a piece of this earlier, and I don't know if they'll let me pick one little leaf. Maybe I can pick a small one. And look at how on one side it's green, the other side it's got a purple color. So it's very showy. So look at that purple on one side. So I am definitely taking at least one thing away from this garden. I'm gonna go plant some Okinawan spinach. And this stuff tastes like really delicious. I would definitely make an entire salad out of that. With onions added in. Some more nasturtiums over here, which you can eat the leaves. They're very peppery. And over here, this is the 3rd time in the last month I've heard of this particular pepper called a chiltepin, or a chiltepin, or a chiltepin. And it's a really interesting hot pepper that was prized by a lot of the native peoples in this area. And I read an article that said that almost every table set back in the ancient days with people in this area had chiltepin peppers on the table. It was like as common as salt. And so what I said I would do is, look at this guy right here. I've never in my life tasted one of these guys. And they're supposed to be very spicy. Let me taste one, I'll give you guys some feedback. Let me see what it tastes like. It's not even that spicy. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Wow, it's pretty spicy. It tastes like the same amount of spice as like a habanero or like a serrano. When I was in high school, freshman year at Brophy College Preparatory School, my Spanish teacher, Mr. Cox, used to make us eat habanero peppers if we messed up in his class. So that definitely takes me back to Mr. Cox's Spanish class freshman year at Brophy. But I was feeling kind of tired, and now I'm pretty much awake. So there we go. We have a mango tree out here. Some like 2-in-1 peach and apricot tree. We have an apple tree that's growing pretty well with some really good looking apples on them. And as we walk down, we just see different peppers and strawberries. And one of the coolest things about this yard is that as you can see, they're growing in different kinds of raised beds. So in the ground, but also in just like watering containers. And the strawberries doing very well inside, and because they want to preserve all their strawberries, each strawberry has their own little clothing, little outfit. It's like a little dress for the strawberry. And then they said that when the strawberry ripens, they just pick the stem and they donate the ripe red strawberry with the package to their guest. So that's so cute. This is one I definitely grew up at my house, the red stem or red leaf Malabar spinach. And each one of these guys will become a seed like this that will literally stain your hands like a pomegranate seed, but it really has no taste. It's kind of like a neutral, kind of a eggplanty, kind of nightshade taste. But the Malabar spinach is delicious, and it's really good for the heat and for the summer growing, and it trellises up. It looks like right here, we got some really good looking onion flowers. And they said that they just bought these onions from the store, and saved the white part of an onion, the base, replanted it when they were done using it, and it grew into onions, and these have been really productive for them. So you can eat the flowers or the greens and pretty much double your money at the grocery store. And this part is really cool because in this raised bed they have a lot going on. They have some viola edible flowers, which when I grew up we always called these Johnny Jump Ups because my brother's name was Johnny, so we always called them Johnny Jump Ups. Looks like some Iatoi onions with some more strawberries with cute little packages or addresses. That's so amazing. And then amongst that we have this one right here, asparagus. And it looks like this asparagus is doing really, really well. They were showing me earlier how there's asparagus just popping up out of the ground at the bottom. And so asparagus is one of those plants that can live with you for 10, 15, 20 years. And it's almost like a tree, it'll produce every year. So in the winter time, the plant will die back, and then in the spring, new asparagus pops up. So this one's kind of gone to fern, and it's a really nice, showy looking plant once it blooms out. So I'm not currently growing asparagus. Maybe I'll start now because it looks like they're having a lot of success. And who doesn't like asparagus? But even within here, we got some red Russian kale. So look at this, one little tank. We have Iatoi onions, strawberries, asparagus, Johnny Jump Ups, red Russian kale. So now I don't want to hear anybody tell me anymore that they live in a townhome or a apartment and they can't grow, because this is the smallest container ever, and look how much food is inside that container. So I'm really impressed. So I was just told that this citrus tree is called a kilimandine, and it's kind of a lime mixed with a tangerine. And I may have to come over here one day and take a cutting off of this guy and try to graft it, because we just got some water with the kilimandine fruit inside of it, right there, and it's really delicious. But you can see how this is their overflow pile of wood chips. So they didn't know where to store their wood chips, so they make a big pile here, and they use a little bit of a wood border to keep it from overflowing onto the sidewalk. And that way they have a constant supply of wood chips for their garden. So I really recommend you guys keeping some wood chips on site. And I bet you that over the years, this will continually be breaking down, so that when they harvest this years from now, the soil underneath here will be so conducive of growth. It'll be full of microbes. It'll be like humus, like some forest humus. So great to have a wood chip pile at your house in your landscape. And then one thing that's happening here is they have their blackberries. They have cute little signs, blackberries, edible fruit, and bee forage. And it looks like they told me that any kind of blackberries that have the thorns do better in the Phoenix area. So look at how many white flowers are hanging off these blackberries. And they have a nice little trellis that they've clipped the blackberry stems onto. I know that I got these clips really good price at the 99-cent store. So I would recommend growing some blackberries. And of course my favorite fruit in the world, the fig tree. So if I had a whole plate of figs and blackberries, I'm a happy guy. And then of course we have some tomato plants looking really good. We have more Swiss chard, different kinds of chard. One of the #1 greens you can grow in the Phoenix area is chard. It will be so easy to grow and you won't be able to get rid of it. And let's go check out what they're doing in the backyard, because they have a project they're working on, and they're gonna allow me to film them in process, and then we'll come back to you in a few months to show you the finished product. So let's go see what they got going on as they convert their pool into a growing area of food for their house. So we're going to the side yard, to the backyard. What's cool about houses like this that do edible landscapes is that as you're walking around, even areas that aren't the primary garden, you'll find little volunteers of tomatoes and lettuce and other types of like some basil, and plants just grow everywhere. So if you guys start gardening at home, you'll find that you'll have a garden where you never really intended to have a garden. That's one of the good problems you want to create when you're gardening at home. But look at this ice cream banana palm, looking really good. I mean, it looks like it survived the frost and the winter with no problems. And she's even got a bunch of pups down below. Look at these pups. So you could totally take these banana pups away from the base of the banana tree and plant them as a whole new tree. So maybe if I smile nice enough, I could take one of these pups home and plant it and show you guys how it does. And then a nice looking Kerry mango tree. I just saw a nice looking Kerry mango in a 65-gallon pot outside of Seamus O'Leary's tropical fruit trees in the West Valley. And I put an Instagram photo of it because it was so big. I couldn't believe there was like maybe over 100 mangoes on this thing. So I think a Kerry mango tends to be one that maybe does well in the Phoenix area. So it looks really good. And as you can see, they're taking their pool out. And in its place, they're doing a really artistically and well thought out raised bed garden. They're going to have a waterfall, a little pond where they're going to grow lotus root and lotus flower, a jacuzzi, and then around the perimeter of the sunken raised bed will be trees. Like they have some peach and cherry and apple and some fig, and in the corner another moringa tree with a passion fruit vine going up the fence. So this is really exciting because I have a pool at my place that I don't think looks too good. It looks like a little tiny kidney bean. And I think that Pam and I go in it maybe about 2 or 3 times a year. So I would love to do something like this in my backyard. So I am going to be filming this for you guys, but actually it's for me so that I can be inspired to maybe convince my wife to let me turn my pool into a sunken raised bed. So it's really cool when you're in a neighborhood like I am in Tempe, Arizona, and I'm doing an edible landscape with trees and garden, and then I turn the corner one day and I see my neighbor is putting down wood chips, and I'm like, hey, there's something going on there, and all of a sudden, I'm not the only crazy gardener in the neighborhood. I have a rival that can keep me motivated and also keep me inspired to keep going. So I think this kind of stuff is how it should be. We should be using our water on things we can eat. And if you bring the camera around this way, incorporating it in a very beautiful, artistic way into your landscape so that not only does it feed you, but it looks nice and makes you feel good in your soul at the same time. So below this video, go see the links that'll take you to the Epic Yard Farm YouTube channel and Facebook page. And hopefully one day you guys will have multiple houses in your neighborhood that'll be doing edible landscapes just like you are.